Yeah.
So my brother at the age of 14, he used to buy himself some biblos. I loved your Sissy Boy, your Levi's and stuff, but then he preferred buying himself. So the most expensive jean I've seen him bought himself at 14 was a Moschino jean. He bought it for 12,000.
The Moschino?
Yes.
For 12,000?
Yes.
At 14 years old?
Yes. I think the first time I went to Groove that put me in trouble was at that 14 years. A friend took me to a street bash. I can say all of them, they bought cars. I was the only one that bought a property.
There's a white person telling you that?
Yes.
About your township?
Yes. Until I learned that, no, while he was dating me, he was going to secretly be married with somebody else. So I found out he was getting married to somebody else while being with me.
Is he from Limpopo?
Obviously.
Oh. All right, guys, welcome to It's More Than Just Money, where we dive into conversations with industry leaders, entrepreneurs, and game changers who are making strides in South Africa when it comes to entrepreneurship, business, investing, as well as personal development. Now, today I'm sitting with Lebo Grass. I'm not going to mention her real name because I believe she wants to go by the name of Lebo Grass. But I think the name Grass is an actual translation from her surname. She just took her surname and gave it an English name. You know, she's a property investor. She is the co-founder and speaker at the BY's Financial Services, Financial Seminars, as well as the founder of the Lebo Grass Mentorship. She holds a couple of hats. She just shared with us with the 7 streams of income, how she actually built up her streams from her salary all the way to having multiple streams of income. Now, she started off with a salary of 5,000 rands. Now, a lot of people say that when you earn 5,000 rands, you cannot start investing in property or you cannot start doing any business. But I like her story because she proves all those myths wrong. They become exactly that, just myths. Now, we're shooting also at the It's More Than Just Money Business and Property Seminar in Durban, KZN, at the City Lodge Hotel. Shout out to everybody that's joining us today. Give yourselves a round of applause. So if you are watching online on YouTube or otherwise, you are definitely missing out. We would have loved to have you sit here with us, engage. We're going to open up questions maybe from the floor. Perhaps if you've got a question, write it down and give it to the man that's walking around. His name is Nyeko, and he will bring it to me. Lebo, welcome.
Thank you very much for welcoming me to the winner's circle.
Are you sitting comfortably? I want to make sure that everybody that comes here is comfortable.
Yes, I am.
You definitely are a winner, and I'm enjoyed listening to your talk, and I'm definitely looking forward to the conversation that we're going to be having. Let's start with your journey. You know, a lot of us, when we start talking about our journeys, we simply start talking about where we started with work. You know, we say, I started off as an intern, then I got promoted. But what is the actual story? I mean, your journey does not start when you became an employee and you started working and started making money.
Okay. I think my journey with money, it started when I was young. I think I was 8 years. My mom was a street vendor, so she was selling, basically her main cause were vegetable and fruits. And over the years, since she taught us selling, my brother and I, when we started selling, we diversify. So the diversification started from home. So we learned about money from a very early age. My brother was 5, I was 8. My mom took us to the Joburg city market to go stock the vegetables and fruits. So that's where we learned about how to stock vegetables and fruits and sweets and stuff. So over the years, that's what we did at home. So that's how we survived. So we survived on selling. So that's the basic core of how we learned about money. So from the early age of 8 years, that's the first time when I had an encounter by touching money, exchanging money, doing collections. So my mom taught us the basic thing that she taught us about money. They are three. She taught us how to make money in collection. She also taught us how to save money because each and every Friday, like Saturdays, she used to go with us. So what she did, what she sold from Monday to Friday, she would go and save the profits. So every Saturday, that's what she did. She would save the profits. So I learned about saving from her. I learned about how to start your own business, making money and collecting money from her. And she taught us how to spend money as well. Because what she did, each and every time when she would go buy groceries, she would sit with us and ask us what's needed at that very early age. So we'll sit with her and tell her this. So I saw how she also used sometimes the lay-by system to get us close. Because remember, she was a single parent. So I learned about the lay-by systems from her. I learned about Stockful from her. So my mom is one of the biggest contributor into my finances on how to learning about money. So from being street vendor, the most important thing I'll always ask her, Mom, why are you saving money almost each and every Saturday? Why are you doing that? She told me that I'm saving money so that I can be able to take you to school because of I can see that you are intelligent. So because I was always like number one in school.
Oh,
And I started school when I was
nice
5.
flex, eh?
Yeah, I was started school when I was like 5 years. So even with that 5, I was the youngest in class at 5. So I became number one at 5. So my mom said, no, because you are good in school, I want to take you to school one day. So I want to have money. And remember, my mom didn't know about NSFAS. Those days, it was in the 1990. I think the first time when I started touching money selling, it was in 1990. So basically, that's what she taught us about money. So we learned about the money journey from home. And my brother and I did wonders when it comes to selling in such a way that we would follow seasons. They will sell different things. At our young age, I'm talking about when we're 11, 12, we'll have our own things that we're selling for ourselves. So when it's winter, we will buy slippers, we will buy hats, winter hats, we will sell that. And then when it comes to summer, we will buy caps. I will sell my Simba chips, sweets and stuff. With those 50 cents that you get from selling sweets, you make quite a lot of money. I can tell you from our profits during the 90s, we will make almost like sometimes on a Friday or Saturday, almost like on a busy one, you can make 2,000 to 3,000 rand for a day. So we knew how to make money. And then in December, my brother and I, he was good on following trends. I think he was so good. In December, I know that he would sell other stuff. He had his own, we call it mini game store. He would sell everything that at game store. They sell the plugs, the batteries and stuff. But there were businesses there were products that you find that those are seasonal. He will always have them. So on the 31st of December, from the 23rd of December to the 31st, he would sell fireworks. And he made a lot of money. I can tell you during those days, there were not a lot of permits they wanted. He would sell almost like 10,000 a day. So
10,000 rands a day?
Yes, from
Nice.
cricket.
At what age?
My brother at the time, he was like 14, 15, 16. And we'll buy our own branded clothing. Growing up in Meadowlands, branded clothing were a thing.
Yeah.
So my brother at the age of 14, he used to buy himself some biblos. I loved your Sissy Boy, your Levi's and stuff, but he preferred buying himself. So the most expensive jean I've seen him bought himself at 14 was a Moschino jean. At 12, he bought it for 12,000.
A Moschino?
Yes.
For 12,000?
Yes.
At 14 years old?
Yes. And he had his own shack. Remember, we grew up in a family house. So since we're having kids from our aunts and stuff, so he decided to buy his own shack. So he bought a beautiful shack. He put tiles.
Why is he wearing Moschino in a shack?
Okay. Basically,
it's an interesting thing because
at the time, remember we were not exposed to buying land, and land was cheaper at the time. We were not exposed to buying land, and the only reason we were selling is because we wanted to wear expensive brands because other kids, they could be able to get that from their own parents. And with my mom, yes, she could get us beautiful and nice clothes, but we wanted these brands to fit in. So the most important thing we did was that since she taught us that you need to make money for yourself if you want expensive things. So that's the reason we're selling. Actually, we're not selling to get properties at the time. We were selling so that we can be able to buy expensive brands.
But in your experience, based on what you've just said, isn't that what a lot of adults, even today, are doing? That we work so hard to accumulate this money, but it's mostly to cover our scars. Because what I'm reading from that is that it sounds like you and your brother grew up, your mother wasn't well off.
Yes.
So though you were exposed to selling, you were also exposed to poverty. And to cover the poverty, you needed to wear nice brands so that you look like other kids, and so that other kids don't see the emotional scars that comes from having lack. And then what I'm asking is, in your experience, isn't that what's happening in society today? That a lot of us grew up without, and as soon as we start having, we now want to cover up by buying nice cars, by buying nice clothes, by buying expensive champagne. Have you seen that? And how were you able to heal that in your own life? So it's a two-part question.
Okay. From selling, what I knew is that at the time, what I knew about selling is that it wouldn't have bought me a property. Because remember, my mom sold for years, and then she didn't even though she had money that she would keep away, she never spoke about getting herself a property. So that was never the language in the family. So the only time I started learning about properties, like I learned through my teacher in high school. My other friend, she was a divorcee, very old lady at the time.
Your friend was a teacher?
No, my friend, she was in the same class with me. She was renting a room from the teacher.
In high school?
Yes.
Yeah.
They come from the same village.
What year is this?
That was 1997.
Oh, back then when old people can be in the same class with kids.
Yes.
I remember.
Yeah, she was older than, she was almost like, she was
There was no
almost
night
like,
school.
Yeah. She was 10 years older than me and a divorcee. She told me that I dropped out of school when I was married, when I got married. So when she divorced, her family encouraged her to go back to school. Since she came from the same village with a teacher, they encouraged her to go and study in Gauteng. They were from Limpopo with a teacher. And so I used to visit her because she was renting a room from the teacher. The teacher bought a bond house. So I always had interest in knowing how people buy bond houses. Yeah. Remember, I grew up in 4-room houses. So I always liked the lifestyle that people live in those bond houses.
So let's quickly explain something. Guys, for those of you who are watching, what she means by 4-room houses, she means those apartheid government houses where you are not even allowed to extend them. You are supposed to live in a 4-room because you are a black person. You must be limited to smallness. Mm-hmm. And then a bond house would be the houses that back then developers would build and you'd finance it through the bank. That's why it's called a bond house.
Yeah, so that's how we call them. So I was so interested because in school we had those kids the parents were teachers and stuff. So when we visit them, we would see the lifestyle. To say, oh, this one, get cheese girl.
They have a bathroom inside the house.
They have a bathroom. When you open the fridge, there's almost everything and stuff. So that's what I liked. And then I'm like, I want to live this lifestyle. And I want to live this lifestyle at 21. Since I had an advantage of starting school early. So I'm going to finish my matric at 16, find a job. Okay, go to school, find a job. And then at 21, I want to buy this bond house. So from 14 years, that was my goal.
After visiting your friend at
most
the
of my friends in the teacher's house, because I asked the teacher, how is it possible that you own? Because I thought people buy those houses cash. So I asked the teacher, how can I be able to buy this house? How did you buy this house? The teacher explained to me that, if you work for government, you have a payslip, it's easy to get this house. So from the age of 14, I already had that information from who? From the teacher. So I knew. So at that time, remember the teacher told me this. So immediately I knew that at the time I wanted to study journalism because I knew that with journalism, I did a study that you can earn your 45,000 a month and stuff. But I had also this goal of saying that, but the teacher said it's possible if you work for government to get these houses. So my goal from then, when I finished my matric, I worked in retail. So when I was in retail, though I was studying through UNISA, my goal was that I want to get a government job so that I can buy this house. So that's basically what I did. So immediately, when I started seeing that I want a government job, when I left retail, I resigned and said, no, I no longer want to work in retail. It's long hours and I'm not going to reach this goal. I even actually prayed about it. I think I prayed that, no, when I leave retail, I want to work a government job. I can tell you when I was busy studying at UNISA, it took me like in 6 months, I was so fasting and constant about that prayer. Then I got my first job at government after retail. I got my job.
How old were you at the time?
I was 24.
24.
Yes, I was 24, but you see the goal of 21 is already passed, but I didn't abandon the goal. So when I was 24, I worked at the government, I worked as a temp, then I applied. The goal now was to apply for a permanent, because they already told me that you have to be a permanent employee and have a pay slip. So, and already I've done a lot of, from that 14 years to now, I've already done a lot of research.
That
with
10 years, the
houses.
10-year gap.
Yes, I even used to go and attend your auctions, even though I knew I was not going to buy. So I was getting a lot of information on how to buy a property.
But wait, before you continue, I want to ask you, man. At 14, you already had that kind of focus. And it took you 10 years to actually get the job. And we're going to continue from there. But at 14, man, kids were grooving, especially in the township. I got exposed to alcohol. At 12, I was already drinking alcohol.
Okay.
The township, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, I quit at 21 forever. But the point I'm making is, at that time, we were running around. We didn't know what's happening. You had this concentrated focus, the discipline to be able to do that. When other kids were grooving, what were you doing?
I think I was doing almost everything. Remember, I could go, I was selling. Like Monday to Friday, I would go to work and I still deliver. I was the best performer at my high school. Even in matric, I was the top student in the high school. So Monday to Friday, I would go to school. And after school, I would study. I think in the township, I was known as that. My uncle bought me a Collins dictionary. My uncle was an academic. He
bought you what?
A Collins dictionary.
Oh, a dictionary,
Yeah.
okay.
And then he used to bring a lot of encyclopedia. He used to buy them. So after school, that's basically, I'll be busy with it. I'll be busy with books. I read a lot of books during those years. So I read a lot of books, Collins Dictionary, and so many encyclopedia, to such an extent that a lot of people in my township, remember at the time, there's no property language in the township. Even now, right now, there is not. So a lot of people in the township, they always ask right now to say, they ask other people, Lebo property, where does she know property from? And a lot of people that used to come to my house, they'll tell you that was the first person we saw read an encyclopedia. There's no person that can open an encyclopedia and read it. But Lebo, she used to sit. And so I used to be mostly an introvert during my years, but I would go to Groove sometimes. I think the first time I went to Groove that put me in trouble was at that 14 years. A friend took me to a street bash. It was hosted by, I think, who's that guy? It's Mahuta and Fetch Cook. There was this
DJ
other one.
Fat Cook and Mahout.
Yes, at the time he was
Yeah.
known as DJ Jotama before he became, I think, Fat Cook. So we went to his party, and then that's when we got into trouble. So I'll be that person who will diversify my things. After school, I would do my studying. I will read the books. Weekend, Saturday, sometimes I'll go with my mom. We'll go and sell. Sunday, I will go to church. And then sometimes, some weekends, I would go with my friend. So at most of the time, I would go and groove with my friends. Actually, for grooving, I can say I was
Did you
exposed-
drink?
I've never drank alcohol at all.
Okay.
I'm one person who would always say that, because I went to high school at 11 years, because I started early. So at that 11 years, during that year, they had a street bash at the school. So every Valentine's, they have a street bash. So most of my friends that I started high school with, during that time, that's where they introduce you to alcohol and smoking.
Like I'm saying, I was 12 when I started.
Yeah, they introduce you to alcohol and smoking during that Valentine's bash. It happens inside the premises of the school. So during that time, all the friends, the crew that I was with, they started smoking and drinking, but I wasn't. Hence, a lot of time I tell people that I don't suffer from peer pressure. And I think it has helped me even financially, because of even when I started working, the group that we were hired with were between, some of them were 21, 22, 24, 25, 26. I can say all of them, they bought cars. I was the only one that bought a property. And you know what happens when you do that? Because remember, a property is not something that you can go around and show people. A lot of people, they were like, because remember all your colleagues now, they've bought cars. And when you are still using the taxis, everyone's like, What is she working for? Where is she taking her money? And that time when I was doing what? I was paying half of my salary on a property.
Yeah, which brings us back to what you had been resolute about from the age of 14, and then you reached 24, started working. Take us through the journey from there.
Okay, when I started working, I started as a temp and then I applied for permanent. I was hoping for that permanent letter. It's something that I prayed for during that process. So when I got it, I was so happy. When I saw that offer letter, I still have it, and I still have my first pay slip. I've printed them. I kept them in a file because I want them to be a testimony even to my kids to say that those two, immediately when they gave me the offer letter, I said, oh God, here's my property. I knew that with my offer letter, it's going to grant me my first property. It's going to grant me my gift. It's going to grant me my gift that I wanted. So immediately when I got employed, 6 months into my employment, I applied for my first property. I applied for my first bond and it was granted. And funny enough, I didn't even have a credit record because I didn't have debts. Because my mom, she never taught us the culture of saying, when you start working, you need to open a clothing account. And another thing that helped me not to open clothing account, I already won brands as a teenager.
Oh, so that part of you was healed.
Was healed. Yes. So there was not, I didn't even went to a clothing store. So the only thing I knew the goal was property. So I applied, they approved me, and then I got my first property at the time. And then that's where my journey started. And when I bought that property, I wasn't buying it for investment. I just bought it because I wanted for my family to move from Maryland so that we can go and stay where. Because remember, I grew up in a family house.
Was it the Proteas land property?
Yes, I bought in Proteas land. So I wanted my family to move so that we can go, and now I'm feeding which lifestyle, the 14-year, the one that I was craving to stay in a bond house. I went and stayed there. The reason I started investing, it was when I wanted to build a barrier wall in that house. Because remember, it's new developments. They just put a fence. So my friend took me to Stein Farm in Renfontaine. That's where I met the Stein family that owns the land of the entire Proteas land. And then that's when I met them. And then I was so interested in finding out.
Your friend took you to them. Where did she know them from? I mean, those are
the friend
very high-profile people.
That guy knows very high-profile people. So
yeah.
The reason we went there, I wanted to buy building soil. He said, no, all these hardwares, they get this land. They get this land, they get this soil from the Stein family. Because remember, they own land. Since they own land, they own soil. So they get it from them. So instead
they mine the soil.
So instead of you buying from your cash build, we can go there and negotiate. Then we went and then we bought at the retail stock price. Then we got the land cheaper. So obviously we met the owner, and then the owner asked me, why are you buying this soil? What do you want to do? Then I told him that, no, I want to build a barrier wall. That's when he told me that, no, instead of building a barrier wall, it's not going to make you money. Why don't you build 2-room and a garage, what they do in the township, and then that's when you can start.
There's a white person telling you that?
Yes.
About your township?
Yes. You can build a 2-room and a garage and start earning income. How much are you earning? And at the time, now my salary has increased. It was 2010. It was now 6,000. It's like, no, you can increase that 6,000 by building. So he already gave me an idea. Then I realized that these people own land. And he started telling me how they keep on selling land. The reason they're not selling the entire land in total to say, okay, the government can buy the whole hectares in 1 year. What they do, they keep on selling land bit by bit to the developers because they wait for appreciation. Then after 5 years, they sell, wait for appreciation. So when he explained that method, it really made sense to me to say,
taught you capital gains now.
Yes. Then I really learned that, no, this is how they make money. So he's probably right. So from that stage, after I've built the wall, I decided to do all my savings that I earned over years, which were my bonuses, my 13th check, my overtime at work. I started dedicating all that money, all of it. I didn't even chow anything. I can tell you from that moment, from 2010 until now, I still even have the diary where I wrote all my salaries, my incomes, my extra incomes, like in a form of bonus and overtimes. So I took all that money. Then I started the building process because they already gave me an idea. So I did a buildings plan, and then I started building my first cottage, and I built that cottage cash. It cost me almost 250 to 300,000 just for building it. But I built it in phases. I didn't build it at once because I didn't have money and I didn't want to take a loan. Remember, my mom never taught us a culture of taking loans. So what I did, I took all those incomes that I had, then I built the cottage cash. I started by building the foundation and then structure and then roof. Then
How long did it take you to do that?
I started in 2013. By 2015, I was finished because of what I did. Like I shared on the platform that I used to be the first person to volunteer. So every time at work, when there was volunteer for overtime at the borders, overtime at the other offices, or in within our office, I used to be number one to volunteer because I had a goal of building. So I took all those funds and then I was able to be. So I built that in 2 years.
Okay, tell me something. Right, you just mentioned something quite interesting. You said in your 20s, you used to then start volunteering a lot at work whenever they needed a volunteer. And I'm guessing that paid, right? You didn't have kids. And even from the time we met, I think you were in your late 30s, you still did not have kids.
Yes.
Now you do have, but let's talk to when you didn't have. Was it a deliberate thing to delay having kids so that you can build your life and build your wealth and then have kids later? Or it just so happened that you didn't have a boyfriend and you couldn't make kids?
Okay. Okay, I think
It's a good question, isn't it?
yes.
You might think it's a plan, Kanti. No one is Shelly.
Okay. I think in my 20s, I only dated almost like two guys. Ne? Okay, I thought it was serious relationship, but only to find that no, it wasn't. Okay, they acted like they were serious, but I think our personalities, they differed. So most of those relationships didn't work. The first time I was interested in having a child was when I was 25. But my goal of being interested in having the child since childhood, remember each and every woman will always dream of being married and having a child. But my dream, since I grew up in a family house, I didn't want to have a child while staying at my grandmother. So that was the goal. So I made sure that I don't have a child when I was still at my grandmother.
The goal became the bond house.
And then, yes. And then when I had a bond house, I now didn't have a problem with having a child. But it mattered who I had a child with.
Who taught you that? Or how did you know that? Because a lot of women don't know that.
Remember at my home, it's a family house. My aunts are five. My
Family house, kushukuthi kukithi la.
Yeah.
You mustn't think family house is a big house. It's a 4-room house.
So it's already like my grandmother had 6 kids which is my uncle, and which is the 5, which is my aunts. So all of them, I saw a trend of them. Okay, after they've broke up with their father of their kids, all of them, they'll come back to that household. So obviously
To the 4-room.
Yes. That's why we ended up, my brother said, no, I'm having my own shack. My mom said, we ended up having shacks, so many shacks in the yard, whereby this one is staying with his, though we have a house. If you want to stay inside the house, you'll stay. If you want to stay in the shack, you'll go and stay with your parents. So we ended up having that setup. So for me, I didn't want to raise my child in that setup, the same setup that I grew up in. So my setup was that I want to have kids when I can be able to provide them with a home. So when I bought my bond house, I was 25. I was like 24 to 25. So I was like now ready to have a child. And the guy that I met at the time, I felt that no, I want to have a child with him. I didn't have a problem with having a child until I learned that no, while he was dating me, he was going to secretly be married with somebody else. So I found out he was getting married to somebody else while being with me.
Is he from Limpopo?
Obviously.
Oh.
From those high villages, those high villages, yes. So that's when I abandoned a mission. Then I met another guy. He had a house. I had a house. He didn't have a child. He was exactly what I wanted. I didn't want to have a child with somebody that had a child. That other one had a child. So now I have this mindset to say, no, now once I realize something doesn't work, I change the mindset. So I met this guy. But we only found that our personality and relationship, it didn't work out. So we broke up. So from that moment, that's when at work, we started having opportunities of earning incomes. I broke up with him in 2012. So that's when we started having opportunities. So because I was single, then I started focusing on my career and making money. because relationships were not working for me at the time. But I still had the idea to say that I want a child, and I wanted a child with this specific person because through my friends and my family, I saw that they have this trend of these guys that they have kids with, and these guys behave this way. So I always had a thought that I don't want to date the caliber of the guys that I see most of my friends dating and most of my families dating, even my own dad. My dad knows that I told him that I don't want to date a guy of your caliber. Because my dad had 14 kids with 7 different women. So I told myself,
you wouldn't exist if you didn't do that, but it's
I'm the
another story.
firstborn. I'm the firstborn. So I told myself that I don't want that for myself. So even the guys that I've dated, if you can check, I've dated through guys that I could see that they were not part of my trauma. Even the ones that I've broken up
Wait,
with.
what's your dad's name? My dad has 14 kids.
Okay, it's late now, ne? My dad
is still alive. Let's
okay,
continue.
fine. So based on that, I also felt that I think the guys that I dated, I was looking at more of a father figure. Because remember, they broke up with my mom. I was raised by my mom. So I wanted something different from my dad. My dad was a funny father figure. Like, we had fun with him, but he was not that, he never did everything that we wanted as kids. So all the time when I went out with guys, I'll check if you're a good father figure. And even if you didn't have kids, I'll check how you behave around kids. So that delayed me not to be having kids, because every time I'll check the guy, I'll check if, okay, fine, are you a great father figure? So for the longest time, since 2012, I broke up with that guy. I went on a journey of self-development emotionally. I wanted to heal all those traumas of being hurt by guys and stuff. So I remained single. So I was single most of the time. It's not the fact that I didn't have kids. Then at 35, I started having interest in having kids. And then that's when I met the father of my kids. But we didn't have a child at 35. When I was 35, we dated for almost like 5 years. Then I started having kids with him after like 5 years.
What would you say was the advantage of actually doing that? Delaying the process of having kids. I mean, some women are scared that what if I delay it and then I don't have kids? And what impact did it have on your career, that thing?
Okay, for me, because I knew that I could, because a lot of people, when you delay having kids, they'll start calling you names, thinking that probably you can't conceive and stuff. But for me,
Did they call you names?
Yes, quite a lot. Even the families, colleagues, friends, they did. It
Your
happens.
own family?
I think it happens to almost every woman that doesn't have kid at the age of 20, 25. Because remember, teenage pregnancy is normalized in our townships or communities. So immediately at 20, so you can imagine for me, from the age of 21 up until 38, I've been called names. But because, like I told you, I didn't succumb to peer pressure. And one thing that helped me is because of I love kids. So all the kids of my brothers, my friends, I regarded them as kids. So I didn't see myself as childless because I already had kids around and I view them as my kids. So even today, I still view them as my kids. I view every child. I'm that person witness. If you are a child, right now, if you are a child, I feel that I'm fond of you. I can even give you my inheritance because my plan of inheritance is not about the people that I've given birth to, but it's about the behavior that I see people have with money and the behavior that people invest in themselves. So if I can identify a child here in KZN, that I can see that this child is so passionate about property. If I make it one day, I wouldn't mind giving that child a property to say, okay, here's your start. I can give you one of my properties to start on. Hence, I even right now managed to do the rent to rent. Hence, even right now, most of my properties are on rent to rent. I'm not holding on them. I've allowed other people to rent out some of my properties and make money from them. And other people, when I share this story, they'll be like, why are you allowing people to make money from? Because remember, I've went through the journey. I already made money through some of my properties. So for me, it's no longer about even making money. It's about
more than
giving
just
back. Yes, it's all about giving back.
Wow. So then tell me, with what you've done, you mentioned that the first property you bought while having a salary of 5,000 rands.
Yes.
And you explained the process that got you there because you really wanted it. From your appointment letter, you went and got this property. I know you said you don't succumb to pressure, But how can others be able to overcome the pressure of being in an environment where people are buying cars, people are buying certain things, and you just have that goal to do something, and you were able to overcome the pressure of Pelangiti, the car, we see it. Everywhere you go, it goes with you. But the property, you can't take it and put it on the table. It's not khakis. How did you overcome that, and how can others do the same? And I guess the pressure speaks to everything, isn't it?
Yes, it does. Like you share that the property is not khakis to such an extent that even some of my colleagues, because they saw me walking, they will be like, no, this one, she's lying. She does not own any properties. Except the people that I send my declarations to, like at work, my managers, they would see that, no, this one has properties because we have to list them. So a lot of people, they couldn't like believe me. But for me, guys, it was not about people believing me. Remember now, since 14, I wanted this property and I got it. So I was content about having that property. I was so very content. And then after learning about property investing from the Stein guy and also Mr. Michael Nkuna.
Mr. Nku,
Yes, because the same guy that introduced me to the Stein, he introduced me to Mr. Nkuna when they were developing Protead Land Mall. He said to me,
hey, you
"Lebo,"
must introduce me to this guy.
yeah, he said to me, Lebo,
This guy knows people.
they are building, he's got a good personality, so easy to get along with people. So what he did, he said, Lebo, they are building Protead Land Mall. And apparently Mr. Nkuna is going to be there today. He's the
Do you
one.
guys know Mr. Nkuna? Masengita Group.
So he said, Lebo, let's go. The town planner it goes to the same church with me, told me that guy's gonna be there. Then he came and picked me up. Then we went to the town planner office. Then we got the town planner there. He was rushing there. Then we followed him. Then that's when we met Mr. Nkuna. And that's when he shared his story when they wanted to develop Project Landmore. He shared his story to say how he's now developing, how he started with Mangalani. If you've been to Soweto, there is a shopping center called Mangalani. So he shared his story how his family owned a dry clean and a butcher and how he started after his parents passed on, he took over and then that's how he developed those rooms. There were two, and then he started adding. Then he started buying the land at the back of the rooms, and then he started building those bond houses, and then he will sell to people. So that's how he started. Even if you can go there now, he hasn't changed anything. He said that he didn't change that because of he wants people to see, people like me to see where he started. And right now he owns a very, very good commercial portfolio property
Yeah,
whereby
it's billions, man.
malls, he owns buildings, a lot of office centers. So
And he
that's
owns a bit of
basically
Kaiser
the-
Chiefs.
Yes, so every time when I passed there at Mangalan, because that was also my route to work, one thing that I'm like, Mr. Masingita started like this. I can also start like him. So after I met the Stains, I met him, and then remember now that I've started building started building my
The
rooms.
Stains, are they the same Stain that built Stain City, or is it a different
It's
family?
a different family, but
Okay.
they are related.
Right.
So from learning from all those people, then that's when I started realizing that no, now I can be able to start my portfolio. That's when I started building bit by bit. So from that stage, I learned that it's possible that you can be able to like build the entire portfolio.
How important is that kind of mentorship then in one's journey? Because your first mentor clearly was your mother, that exposure that you received, especially overcoming the fear of selling. I don't think anyone who's sold from a young age will succumb to peer pressure anyway, because you're used to rejection anyway,
Yes.
right? And then meeting these big time developers and business people, that kind of exposure, what did it do for you?
Okay, I think it worked well with my personality because I'm so very adaptable. Like you can see even when I'm sharing my story that every new information that presented to me, I utilize and I research, utilize and implement. Like the information that I even got from you quite a lot, you shared on social media. I did my own research. I found people that work in those expertise and then I implemented. So that has helped me quite a lot to say that each and every information that presented to me, I utilize it. So same thing that when I met those, obviously those they are called regarded as property moguls. So you can see that from the information that they've shared, these people they own big land, they own malls, But my journey was not that I want to own a mall like Mr. Masingeta, but I can start with I have a different setup of commercial property that I want to own from learning from my field of work. Remember, I told you that my first time is when I went to work, I did a warehouse inspection. So that is my goal. I want to, because remember, I can understand what happens in an industry that I'm at, property related. Yeah. So that's the value chain that I want to own. I want to own properties that are customs related. That's the big goal. That's this 20-year goal that you were speaking about. So that's my 20-year goal. So if you can see, I've learned from these mentors, but I didn't say today because of they told me about storage warehouses, big malls, then I want to own a mall. But I knew because Mr. Masingeta started with those small shops that we have in the township. I can start with my back rooms as well. So I started building my first cottage. Then I went over here, started building my portfolio bit by bit. So with my portfolio, everything that I've built within my portfolio, it's information that I've learned through many mentors.
Yeah. But you've diversified from that into having other streams of income. I mean, for the benefit of those that are watching, can you maybe perhaps even for the benefit of us, repeat those 7 streams of income, starting with your job?
Okay, my job. I work as a tax ambassador. I'm a custom officer. I work for the South African Revenue Services. So from my job, like I said, that already it's international trade. We deal with international trade. So and we also do part of property, which is property inspection that are related to international trade. So you can see that with one stream of income, I was able to build my own like money tree over the years. With the first 5,000 that I earned, my bond was 2.5. So you can see 50% of my income was going through where? Through the property already. So I was investing already 50% of my income through a property. So, and then with all the incomes, like the overtimes and PMDSs and 13th check that I earned over the years, what did I do with all that money? I even have the paper trail. I've got everything in proof because I used to write, like you said, that we need to have a plan. I used to write all my money plans. So with having all that money, I was able to build my first cottage cash over the years. Then I was able to rent out that cottage. With the money that I made from that cottage, what did I do? I paid off that property. Because now I was able to generate money and I was paying that property like from my own income, my 2.5, and I was paying 5,000 extra. So I was paying it like 3 times each and every month using the same income. So I was able to build it. Then after I've paid off my first property, remember I made these 2 property mortgages then, I started learning from, I got a property mentor. I just shared with this other guy at work to say that, oh, I'm so happy I paid off my first property. Now I've applied. I already applied for my second property. So already right now I wanted to build multi-lets with a second property. So I shared with him and then he offered to mentor me because he was already in the property industry.
Was that a colleague?
Yes. Then he started mentoring me. I learned quite a lot from him, especially about sectional title. So he started mentoring me in the sectional title. He told me that, Lebo, it's possible that you can buy, since you see that your credit score, your credit profile is very good. You've paid off the property, and the only debt that I had at the time was a credit card. He said that since you have paid off all your properties, you know that you have paid up your first property, you can be able to buy as many properties as you want. That's when he unleashed the investor in me. Then he told me about this information. Since I told you that if you share information, I implement. Then I told him that I'm interested in buying. He said that no, you can go and apply for other properties within that year. It was, I think, I paid off in March. It was April when I applied for the second property. Then when I spoke to him in May, I already applied for other 2. Then I was approved. I just put on my application and my take home at the time now is 10,000, including the rental income that I was getting. So I applied.
Including?
Yes. I applied already for these properties. I was approved by different banks. He just shared with me that strategy, then it worked for me. I was approved. On that same year, I went and bought another property on installment buy. And the nice thing about installment buy, I know a lot of people, because they're not exposed to installment buy, they think installment buy, when you tell them, they'll say it's a scam. For me, I didn't see it as a scam because at the time I was busy with my qualification. I was studying commercial law. So when I was studying commercial law, most of the transaction that I was busy with, the OTPs, they were part of my study. So I was doing what? Practical, using my own experience. So the practical that I would get in a commercial law studies, I was the case study. So when I was signing an OTP at school, I was doing what? I was doing the OTP. I even had the second property went to High Court because the owner found out that I wanted to buy it for investment and I wanted to build multi-lets. The agent shared with her. Then only to find that now she wants to cancel and do the multi-lets. So that property went to High Court.
As in the case?
Yes.
Yeah, you took it to court for that?
No, she took me to court because the property, she wanted to cancel on a Friday.
And it was
and on a Friday, it was already on prep. Monday, it was going to register.
She's taking chances.
Yeah, I knew because it's already on my commercial property book that already when it's on prep, it's already your property. So when she did that, she came to me at work on a Friday to say that I want to cancel the deal. I said no. You know why I said no? I told her that when I go and view property, I always go with my mom. When my mom says this property is yours, it's mine. Even if I don't qualify, the bank will always qualify me because my mom said that property is mine. So before I went to view your property, I went and viewed more than 5. And when we went to your property, my mom, she said, yeah, wena le. Then I was approved. And I can tell you with that property, we were betting for it. We were 3. The other guy was a doctor. He wanted to buy that because it's a corner house. He wanted to buy that property for opening a surgery because it was a new development place. He wanted to open a surgery. The other person, they were 2, it was husband and wife. They wanted to buy it as their own residential property. And all of these people were earning more than me. Look at, my take home is 10,000. How much is the take home of a doctor? How much is the take home of those 2? But I can tell you, they were declined by the banks, both of them. I was approved with my 10,000 because my mom said, what? It's yours. Even the agent was like shocked. She's like, oh, your credit profile, it's so good. All the banks, they wanted to finance you. So that's when I started taking the idea from the other guy saying, if all the banks want to finance you, go back to those banks. From my mentor, go back to those banks, tell them that those approvals you wanted to give me, can I add another property? The bank said, no, if you've got another property you want to buy, you can buy, we will finance you. Then I was financed 100%, 4 properties in 100%. And then the 5th one was when I got an installment buy. I bought it under installment buy. So in that 1 year, I bought at least like 4 properties, including the one that I already paid off.
Now that's rental income. So you moved from earned income to passive income through rental income?
Yes.
And then?
And I earned the rental income when the property was registered, the sectional one, because it had tenants. It was registered on the 17th of August. Same day, I earned rental income when the property was. So I made money from day 1 when I owned that property. So I enjoy that because remember now the mentor shared all these things with me. And I thought that, no, this one is sharing magic with me. But when I started seeing those things happen, I was like, yeah, this is real story. Then that's when I started teaching other people at work. I even taught other people who were friends. Then that's when I started helping people to buy property. Then I saw that, and I helped people a lot who were rejected by banks for maybe bad credit score. So I started helping them to say, no, this is how you build your score.
But they thought you don't have a house.
There are those who thought, there are those who know you. They'll visit your house. They know you. Then there are those who don't know you. So obviously those who don't know you, they'll think that, no, this one doesn't have a house. Those who knew me, they knew my goal. They knew I wanted to be a property. I even told them I'm not buying a car because I want to be a property investor. Not that some of them, sometimes I had the money to buy the car. But I told them that, no, I want to buy a car the day that my properties are going to pay for the car. I even moved to another office from the office where, and they didn't say no, because of when your goal is you want to buy a car, they were not able to transport me. The ones who were sincere with me, they were able to even take me and put me to the rank every day. I sometimes even, most of the time I used lift clubs all the time. Because for me, it didn't make sense because you find that we all come from Protea Land. We are 10. And then maybe out of that 10, about 6 or 7 people, they own cars. And we use a lift club, all of us. They park those cars. They go into a lift club. So for me, it didn't make money sense to park a car, travel into another car, and then pay installment for that car. For me, it didn't. Seriously. I even tell my colleagues that whatever you did, it didn't make sense. But even if when I was telling them, they didn't say no, Lebo. She's saying that and then she'll want us to lift up her. They'll still lift up because they need the money for what? For fuel.
And the installment.
Yes. So I will always be, most of the time, I will enjoy a car without having a car. That's why for me, a car was also not a pressure because of it will take me, they'll take me from home to my workplace, from my workplace from home. And also with shopping, I didn't struggle. We will dedicate a day to say Wednesday and Friday, we go to the malls. With the same colleague, we go to the malls and then we'll shop wherever we want and then get into the car and then I'll be dropped off at home. So why would I need to buy a car? And the same friend that I spoke about, he helped me quite a lot with his car. When I'm home weekend, I also didn't struggle with a car.
But when you bought the first property, I remember you told me the story. There was a friend whom you told, let's go buy properties.
Actually, I told all my colleagues that, guys, there are properties in this area. Out of all of them, I think there's only one lady. She follows me. Everything that I do, she'll always follow. Even right now, when I told that there's positions at the border, let's apply because we are earning lower income here in the inlands. She applied. Now she's at the border. She's the only person that when I speak, she will always listen to me. So most of the people that I spoke to, they were my colleagues at the time because they were my friends. Most of them, they didn't buy properties. Even today, some of them, they don't have properties. With that 18 years, they don't have properties.
In 18 years?
Yes. They don't.
What's their plan?
And okay. Okay, I guess some of them, they'll say that, no, my plan is to build at my rural village, but still at the rural village, a person does not have a home. I already bought at the rural. I bought a property for my daughter at the rural town.
Wait, in Guyana?
In Limpopo.
Again?
No, Guyana, I'm going to invest very soon. There is a project coming big there in Guyana, so I'll be investing.
Yeah.
I'll also invest in Guyana. My plan is also buy. But no, I bought it in Lephalale. When I went to the border post, I'm working at the border post in Lephalale. So when I was working there, I shared this. I always share this information, but people will always be like, when you don't have a car, people will dismiss you.
When you don't have a car, they
yeah, they be like, no, we won't listen to a person that doesn't drive a car. So you need to prove with a car that people can listen to you. I can tell you now that I bought a car. All of those people who said they come to me now for property advice. The same people who wouldn't come to me when I didn't have a car. And now it's going to be too late for them because properties now are much higher and they are overexposed with debts. Sometimes they won't qualify. But if they listen to me back then...
Because they are buying Moschino now when they should have bought it at 40.
Yes. You see? So when I was in Lephalale, I was exposed. Okay, Lephalale, I was exposed to it when I started working there. Remember, when I go to an area, I study about the area. Mm-hmm. So when I came to Durban, I think 2 months ago, I was staying in Baleto. I'm interested in buying there. So now when I go to a place, I look at the opportunities to say, I want to buy here. What can I do? So when I went to Lephalale, I found out the properties were expensive. It was 2018. It was still during time of Midupi. So the properties were highly expensive. So now the market went down because there were no longer a need for accommodation. So there was this other lady. She's a police officer. She followed me on Facebook. And then she started seeing that I post a lot about property. She came to me and said, Lebo, I saw your profile. You speak a lot about property. I'm interested. And you spoke about owning one at 5,000. So since I'm a constable, can I be able to own one? I told her that, no, it's possible. She went and told the coach. They were like, how can you listen to a person, a pedestrian, telling you about properties? I can tell you that lady today, she owns a property in Lephalale and she's a pedestrian. The same colleagues, they own cars, but they don't have a property in town in Lephalale. So when I was helping her with a property, I remember when I help you, I also go through the property page. So I learned a lot about property. Then that's when I came across the property that I bought for my daughter. I was like, oh, okay, the properties are now cheaper. Then I applied and I bought. Right now, there is a property that I want to buy. That one I was exposed to it through my work. When I went there to do an inspection, a property inspection, that's when I came across this land. Then I found out the land, it's actually cheaper. So right now, my journey for next year is to buy that land. So that's basically that. So every time when I go to areas, I look at property opportunities, whether residential or commercial.
All right. I love that. And I appreciate the fact that you are a sharer, you share from the heart, and that you want to empower other people with education. Now, there is a Lebo somewhere who is starting her job at the age of 20, 21, perhaps maybe even at the age of 30. What advice would you have for her or for him looking through that camera, looking right into their eyes and speaking to them words that you wish could have been spoken to you, or words that you were glad were spoken to you by the mentors?
Okay. I think what I would share with them is that immediately, like when you start, you need to check what is your purpose. Why, first of all, like since I've shared in the podium on the end income, that what is your goal? Why do you want to earn that income? Because with me, I knew that I wanted to earn that income so that I can buy a property. So you need to have a purpose that's related to how you want to expand your incomes in future. So when you look at your income, I always say that you must look at your income like as a seed, like I did with mine. So you need to look at your income as a seed, and you need to find a mentor that's going to help you to plant all those income. You can have so many different mentors like I do that are going to help you to plant that income, so that it can be on a different streams like I did with mine over years. So when you get that salary, do not overcommit to that. Look at how you can grow that salary even within a year. Because what I do right now, I try to grow my salary each and every year. So look at ways on how you can plant that money tree that I was speaking about. Plant that, look at the salary as a seed, plant it as a money tree and water it. You are going to water it by learning all different investments. Don't be scared to look out for coaches. Don't be scared to look out for people that are talking about information on the subject that you are interested in investing. Like for instance, in my case, right now I learn quite a lot by attending seminars. Today you may think that I'm a speaker, but I was also like a member that came to listen to other speakers as well. I've listened to Witness, I've listened to Shepherd when he spoke about money. So right now for me, it's seminars are development journey for me, because all the seminars that Witness has, I listen to his podcast. All the seminars that Percy and I have, we invite different speakers. So each and every time a speaker comes there, I learn. So that's my journey. And right now I've joined a book club. Ne? The book club is about developing ourselves as business people,
Are you the
people
one who
that are
sent all those
investing.
people who bought my books in hundreds?
Yes, I developed a book club on my mentorship to say each and every month we are going to be reading about books that are written by South African authors. I also have joined another book club where it's hosted by other people. We are reading international books each and every month. So that's basically what we do. So I try to promote all the book authors that are South African on my page. And then on that other page, which is hosted by, I'm also a student, I'm also reading. So reading, it helps me quite a lot so that I can also self-develop myself, since I started loving reading from, like I said, that from my early childhood. So that's basically that. So get yourself a mentor. Make sure that you use your salary as a seed. It's going to help you guys. Most of your lifestyle like you see, in my case, I started investing in my 20s. And then in my 30s, I was like pumping, diversifying. Now in my 40s, most of my lifestyle is financed by my journey. And my journey through properties, like I share that it now covers 7 streams of income. I'm able to get income from the journey. That coming and sharing my journey pays me through my speaking gig. And I get a lot of speaking because most of the people, they relate more with my story, because I'm from a township. I'm saying that it's possible for you to make it from a township. I was a low salary and I'm still am. I'm not saying that I earn a high salary. I earn a government salary. But I'm coming here saying that it's possible for you earning a lower salary. It's possible for you being a government employee. I'm coming here being a child of a street vendor. I'm saying to you, it's possible. It doesn't matter where you come from. I grew up in a family house. I lived in a shack. My father used to live in a squatter camp. I know the lifestyle of a squatter camp. But today, how many people do I offer accommodation? I offer quite a lot of people accommodation, but I slept in a shop.
Akenza inkomu
Okay.
ngwakhosa gore you came here and shared your story with us. We appreciate you, and may you continue to grow, may you continue to prosper, may you continue to accommodate millions of people possibly, as far as your imagination can go. May God bless you enough to reach it. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And let's give her a round of applause.
Thanks.
And if you're watching online on YouTube and you're not inspired, I don't know what's going to inspire you. But thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Please comment. Let us know which part of this conversation resonates with you. Let us know where you're watching from. Click on that subscribe button. Click on the notifications bell. Share the conversation with someone so that more people can be impacted, inspired, and uplifted. From my team and I, broadcasting from Durban, KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa, it's more than just money. See you in the next episode. Ciao, ciao. Dango.